Alright, so this is going to be trans tips for surviving in high school/middle school. Came out as non-binary. I came out as lesbian when I was 13.
You did?
Yes.
I didn't really come out. I was just sort of like, I'm a boy now. I came out as trans maybe when I was 12. Well, yeah, I've always been queer to some extent. I feel like I've never been a cishet. Yeah. Ever since I was a wee baby, I wanted to kiss Rapunzel. Yeah, my mom said it was racist because she's white, and she's like, oh, you want to be Rapunzel? She's white. Why do you want to have blonde hair? And I was like, no, I want that blonde hair to hold. I was going to say something a lot dirtier, but...
I am so glad you didn't. Eli's journey, something that he's never done is pick out his own name. Yeah, I chose Eli.
Yeah, no, I just, like, texted you one day and was like, I fucking hate this name. I've outgrown it, you know? It worked for me when I was 12. I put up, like, 4 names and you chose it, and I was like, that. Alright, trans tip number 1. You know, the email. The annual email. So this is how I go getting my teachers to call me my name and shit. I have a template in my Google Docs. Make sure it's on your Google account so it like follows you everywhere. And then you name it something super vague that you're gonna remember. Like I just put trans email. You can Google like a template, but I perfected it. You have to make sure it includes the fact that it's like, hi, my name is this. I go by this pronouns. I'm in your this class, this period, these days. My dead name is this. Please do not call me that. You have to be clear as frick because some of these bitches are stupid as fuck. And then you gotta be like, he, him. Please don't call me the other thing. You gotta be like, thank you for your cooperation. Don't be too forceful with it because I've had teachers be offended. They're like, you tell me what to do. Like, I'll do it if you ask nicely. Like, nigga, shut up. Send out that email. Don't be like me the first year and accidentally not send it out to the correct emails. And have the first day be hell. And if you can't get their emails before the class, you know, before the first day, like, because I send it out usually the day beforehand, because if you send it out too early, they'll fucking forget. But if you send it out too late, obviously, you know, you're gonna get dead names in front of everybody. If not, you can usually tell, because they'll usually ask for your name when you get in or something like that.
It's gonna be on there as this, but my actual name.
But you gotta pull them aside. We have a friend who would deadass be like in the middle class, I don't go by that! Yeah, I go by these pronouns! Like, no, pull them aside because it's nobody's business but your own.
Topic number 2, following up with that.
For real!
And then, by the way, most of these tips are bull or F to M people because we are both in that general category.
We're both AFAB.
We're both AFAB, transitioning into...
I'm transitioning to a male, and you're transitioning to a sentient whore.
Yeah. You need to follow up with it. So if you're not comfortable correcting someone outright, then someone else needs to be that person for you. If you hear clacking in the background, that is Eli messing with my cat.
Hey! She dropped her... Yeah, like that.
Just interrupt. Don't make it noticeable because you're gonna make them feel bad and then they're gonna get all in their head about it or they're gonna be angry.
Don't. If you make it a big deal, it's gonna become one.
So unfortunately with being trans, you're now a spectacle for everyone because now you represent the entire trans community because you're a minority now.
Yeah, couldn't be me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's a joke that Eli is used as the only person of color, only trans person.
I know! I love it!
But now that you're like the center of attention, unfortunately, you do have to be mindful of the fact of that. Mind your temper, unfortunately. Because we have our one friend who's very vocal about their feelings.
Yeah, it's not necessarily wrong. It's just like, it's unwarranted. Yeah, it can leave a sour taste in people's mouth. And not that you should be like catering towards anybody because you don't represent any community you don't want to. You're not literally a spectacle. But unfortunately, that's how people are going to take you. And if you're fine with that, then do what you want. Repercussions for your actions. And if you want to come off as understanding as possible, because oftentimes it's just like a simple mistake, can't be aggressive about it or else it's gonna make people more guilty and want to disassociate it subconsciously.
Exactly. People are more likely to be receptive of the idea of you being transgender if they're more receptive of you as a person in general. Leaving them with a good impression of you helps trans people in the future subconsciously.
My, antisocial personality ass doesn't care about other people, but it's like, also, it makes life easier for everybody, so it's just a general net positive. Interjecting quietly, something that I had to do this year, I had a teacher who was very nice, very dope, he's super awesome, but he would just keep on calling me she, and if you've been trans for a while, you sort of get when people know that they've made the mistake.
Because they
Or
stutter
not.
over their words after
Either
that.
they stutter or they have a weird look
They go,
afterward. Yeah. Or they're like a certain teacher of mine that goes, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry," after he interrupts.
Don't do that.
If you're-
Drawing more attention to it is an issue.
And this goes for cis people, misgendering trans people. Making a big fucking deal out of it makes it awkward for everybody. But this teacher, it didn't really like seem like he realized it was a mistake. And even if he did, that happened a lot. So what I decided to do was, like, after class, just, like, pulled him aside, because we were already, like, we had a good relationship, and then, like, hey, so you keep on calling me that, and I just want to make sure that you, like, know or remember that I go by, like, he. Completely understand it's a mistake, but I just want to make sure you know. And then he completely got it, and he sent me an email being like, "Oh my god, bro."
And then he started calling you his son.
No, and then after that, I genuinely think, he didn't say it in the email, but I genuinely think he just, like, forgot. Because after that, he kept on using, like, overly masculine terms, but he was like, "Oh my gosh, you're like blah 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 son," and blah blah blah. Put your big boy pants on. He started treating me like a man, made me fucking build a wood thing. A lot of the time, it's not them being bigoted, it's them being confused, because a lot of people are just uneducated.
We're lucky enough to go to a very progressive school where our teachers are normally understanding, and if they're not, our principal won't really do anything, but he'll give him a mean look in the hallway, maybe. Transitioning into our next topic of gender expression. So, helping you quote-unquote pass, be stealth in school, all that stuff. Eli's gonna speak first, and I'll go next. Take it away!
Your expression is all up to you. Express yourself how you want. We represent very different ways of doing it. I represent the more traditional quote-unquote. I want to pass, come off as a guy, and that shit matters to me, but it's 100% okay if it doesn't to you.
Exactly. So,
You know?
for example, I simulate more gender expression. Feeling yourself in the clothing that you wear.
So in terms of passing at school, it could be rough. Like, you know, obviously you've got your mask, your traditional passing tips of wearing certain clothing, acting certain ways, walking certain ways. But specifically in school, dress codes, it could be difficult. Feeling at home
Like feeling internally masculine.
feeling internally masculine, feeling like, you know, your place in school can be very difficult. So surrounding yourself by people who, like, are from your gender can be very good, as well as doing that with teachers. If you're like, I'm particularly close with most of my teachers. I have a good relationship with most of my teachers. So they also act as a way to affirm. There's going to be slip-ups here and there, but it's going to be a bumpy ride because that's just sort of the nature of being trans, unfortunately. There's a lot of roadblocks in your journey of feeling comfortable. Bathroom! The thing that I do currently, and I've done, I started out just using the nurse's bathroom, and using the nurse's bathroom both to use the bathroom and both to get changed. In junior high, when I first came out, the gym and the nurse's office were like right next to each other, so it was really easy. But that's obviously not the case for everywhere. Or I got to the high school, the nurse's bathroom was really far from the gym, and I still used the nurse's at a point and in a place. Using the normal, quote-unquote, or like men's bathroom was not safe.
Especially when you've grown up with the same people because you're all in the same grade and everyone knows you as dead name.
Yeah, so it can be really jarring, and you should let them sort of grow out of that. For the locker room situation, I had different people that I could, like, you know, ask about it, and luckily our school had like a way of doing it because they had previous trans students, which we're lucky enough to because we're in like a later generation.
Yeah.
If we had in like 2017, it would have been completely different.
Yeah.
They had like a spare locker room that we could use, and right now we're having issues with it because like people are taking advantage of the fact that it's open and like smoking in there and shit. We still have that avenue open for us, so I still have that. If I couldn't use the nurse's bathroom, I'd be at a point where I'm completely comfortable using the men's bathroom, just because passing at school, if you have a school like mine where people forget, the first year that you come out is the most difficult year. It will be the hardest, and it only gets better because people will forget and you will become more of the gender that you identify as you assimilate into the school. You're going to be assimilated into that gender, and people are going to put you in their mind as that. And as people leave and join the school and are introduced to the true version of yourself, most people, even if they know I'm trans and even if they misgender me on just like instinct, see me as like boy Eli, you know? Most strangers call me he, him. Even people at school are able to like view me as a guy, but that's a big part of my own personal gender affirmation. This sort of goes into the wider scheme of transitioning. It's just a rough process. Expressing yourself as you want is a rough process. Ways that may help me pass at school, as it just does in society: masculine haircuts. I don't do this often because I just stopped giving a shit, but like talking masculinely. Not clear. You gotta like sound like you smoke 7 packs a day. Thomas Shelby.
Chain smoking out the window.
Yeah, no, literally though, like you're on opium or some shit. Anyway. So, like I said, no drug use, and I'm just like, don't try to force it too hard. I used to. It won't work, and it'll be annoying, and you're gonna hate talking. Nobody in the trans community talks about this enough. Watching a lot of men
But you pick up on things from it.
sort of make your media a lot of men with attributes, especially vocal or body language attributes that you like. You're gonna pick up on it if you watch them enough. And I've noticed that, and I've purposely put like certain men into my sort of media consumption, and it works. I'm telling you, you'll pick up on it and you'll come off as more masculine if you choose. And not that, like, you know, enjoy what you enjoy and don't fucking watch Andrew Tate, but you know what I mean?
I think a big example of this is our music taste. Your personality definitely reflects in your music taste, or vice versa.
Kendrick Lamar, Ashnico. That's just sort of how gender expression is, and it's difficult when you're trans to have a very fluid gender expression, because for me, like, if I won't pass if I have a slightly androgynous expression, and I have androgynous taste, so it can be difficult, right? So, you know, for the you ye old trans people out there who are like slightly androgynous, and it's like you slightly pass over to the other side. I struggled with that in my younger years, where I tried to overcompensate and be like, I'm a man, I shoot guns, and then, you know, you sort of become more comfortable in yourself and you realize none of that matters. Yeah. Because unfortunately, unless you're like, you know, pretty lucky in your biology, I have like certain androgynous features. Like I have you've grown accustomed to me.
Yeah.
You know?
You having a flat chest is just like,
Yeah.
I remember one time I had a dream that, you were transitioned, and then it only hit me halfway through the dream. I was like, oh my god, you got surgery!
That makes me smile. Unless you've been, you know, lucky in terms of some biology, like you just have more like masculine frame or anything, unfortunately, especially if you're trans masc and you have like a higher voice like I do, because I naturally have a squeaky voice, you're gonna get misgendered by those who were gonna misgender you anyway.
Yeah.
You're gonna get misgendered by random old ladies on the street, or sometimes you won't, you know? Old ladies can be pretty lit. So that's why you have to try to surround yourself with people who, like, this is gonna sound so cringe, fucking Disney Channel, but for people who see you as you really are.
If someone hears someone who's talking to you say he, they're gonna think of that person as a he. They're not gonna think about it as their own, what they're seeing, what they're thinking about. They're gonna, like, adapt to their surroundings.
It's that, as well as people there have been people who have thought of me as, like, who have misgendered me as she this, she that. Like, for example, our friend Alberto. Mm-hmm. He misgendered me, like, twice. You know, the first time I came out, we weren't super close friends then, but then as we became closer friends, he started, in his brain, I became more of a figure, or more of a pronounced figure, and that made me more male.
Yeah, just
do you understand?
Subconscious of
People see you as male because you as a person, so it really becomes less about what's physically there.
Yeah.
And the people that see you as you are, which, you know, inside is, you know, the gender you identify as, those people are going to be the most affirming people in your life.
Yeah.
100%. So just surrounding yourself by them and then believing them, because it's the fact that they think that, despite being around you and hearing your voice and seeing all the things that you're self-conscious about so much, affirms the fact that you are who you are. And until, unfortunately, you know, unless you're lucky or unless you just don't want to, until you medically transition, at least in my case, you're not going to get the satisfaction of having a stranger completely be 100% convinced that you're biological now.
Mm-hmm. And it all depends on what kind of dysphoria you experience. Like social dysphoria, like, I forgot the other types. But
every other type of dysphoria.
Every other type. Expressing what you feel. So when I first came out, I went through a hyper-masculine phase.
My god, I have pictures from it!
Yes. Which was button-ups, cargo shorts, and a binder, and a shaved head.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I had it really going on. And I didn't look like quote-unquote female, but I didn't look quote-unquote male, and that's because that wasn't who I truly was. And then when I started to dress more feminine, and when I started to really embrace who I am, I like to express myself as more feminine and have a more masculine frame. I wear feminine clothes that don't necessarily suit my body type, amplifies the fact that your body is more masculine than it is feminine. Yeah. And that's how I kind of like almost got around dressing super feminine. And even if you want to, it's completely okay. Like wearing eyeliner, mascara, being hyper feminine is super okay, especially if you're trans masc. But it's really exploring your own boundaries and being like, wow, this makes me feel insert name. Like, for me, short eyeliner or no makeup at all makes me feel like Remy.
Yeah.
So it's like, and for Eli, having fake freckles all over his face.
Look, I just like being a soft boyo, alright?
The expression that you choose, or the aesthetic that you choose, can cause so much gender euphoria. Once you find that self-confidence within yourself to be like, wow, this is how I want to present, even if you're not fully medically transitioned, it helps you so much.
Oh, it does, for sure. I used to feel like any means of expression was futile because I would never be comfortable with who I am. I'm still lacking something, right? But I'm comfortable enough now to feel like myself, even if, like, biologically I don't completely express that. But I express it in every way that I have needs of. And that feeling of control over the way you dress, the way that the aesthetic you give off, and what people think of you when they first meet you in terms visually, gives me enough control to feel like, you know.
Yeah, it's having that own control over, wow, if I have this control over my appearance and this type of clothing can make me emotionally feel this, like, form of completion, then I'm doing something right.
Yeah, you know, I want people to look at me sometimes and be like, damn, that's the DJ of a rave. You know, and you want people to look at you and be like, damn, that bitch was raised in a mushroom forest. You know, whether that bitch has titties or not, doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Right? As a trans-binary person, using aesthetic inspiration in my expression has definitely helped a lot, even with passing, you know? Because there are certain aesthetics that are very, very associated with men and women. For example, like the hyper like Japanese streetwear is an aesthetic that I indulge in, and when I wear that type of aesthetic, I pass more often because more people
associate that.
Not because of the way it accents my body or anything like that. People are just like, that's a dude.
That's a masculine thing to wear.
And it's not even like that's a boy clothes, you know? It's just like a masculine aesthetic.
The homeless core that I have.
What does that say?
I don't even, what does it say? You can read Japanese.
Seven sereta giangu reka.
Translate.
Seven.
For example, what I'm wearing right now is just like muted colors, sweatpants,
it's
and
giving food stamps.
even what I'm wearing now is a freaking 4-year-old jacket that has paint stains and bleach stains from my hair dye all over it. Clothes you feel comfortable in is what you should wear out because that's showing people who you are.
Exactly. Expression is key, my guy.
Bye everyone! Hope you had a great day.
Sayonara.